to explain stuff. Also, most editors you get will probably just, you say, please do this, they will do exactly that, and that's it. Noxie will sometimes get back to me with like, I'll be like, here's a video, here's 4 jokes I thought of that can go in the video, because I like humor, and then Noxie will add 3 more. And I basically give her creative freedom as long as she remembers I have a PG channel. So sometimes the stuff comes back and it's funnier than it was when I sent it in because she added more jokes to it, and I love that. I would say the only downside is sometimes she loses track of time and she'll spend 5 hours on a joke, and she's like, "Oh crap, I still have to make the rest of the video." So that's happened more than once. But yeah, that was that. Let's see. Is there a specific requirement? Is there anything that you were avoiding when looking? No, I mean, it was basically just, can I afford them? It was basically just, can I afford them, and skill. That was it. Okay, the next question from Sly Squid. How did you juggle your full-time job / family / streaming while getting sleep? Who said I sleep? How strict was your schedule to make sure you didn't burn yourself out? Okay, so I'm actually finding the music in the game very distracting right now, so I'm gonna turn that down. Okay, the first year I streamed, first year or 2 that I streamed, I was doing it each evening from 9 p.m. to midnight as a hobby. So my son was in bed. My son was 6 when I started streaming. My son was in bed. His bedtime was like 8 at the time, or 7 or 8 at the time. My wife was like winding down. She was usually reading a book in bed. And so I would say, good night to her and then go do this. And so my son was he could have literally never known about it if I hadn't told him I was doing it. My wife, she saw like that I was like really happy doing it. So and it wasn't really interfering with anything. So she was fine with it. I will say to any of you that are thinking about doing this, please do not do the thing where you go, "Honey, my mixtape's fire," and you just quit your job to become a full-time superstar celebrity international sensation, and then you got no viewers. Make sure your backside's covered. Like, I was doing it while I was also doing a full-time job to pay the bills, and it was like, again, 3 hours a night, and if I really wanted to, grow, I should not have done it every night. I should have done it like every other night or a few nights a week or something, and then spent other time working on YouTube if I was just going for growth, but that's not what I did. Sleep, I was still getting 8 to 9, like 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. I didn't sacrifice sleep for it, except on a rare occasion when something really crazy was happening. Like, sometimes, like, let's say you're streaming, and I want to make up some numbers here. Let's say you're streaming and you've got 50 people watching, and then someone raids you and drops 1,000 viewers on you, and you're just like, that's the night you sacrifice sleep. That's the night where you were like, all right, I am going to go until the battery is dry, and then tomorrow I am sleeping. Tomorrow I will take a nap and do much less streaming tomorrow, because like there are times when luck happens, like an opportunity happens. When you get hosted or rated by a big streamer and everyone doesn't leave right away is an example of one of those moments. However, other than that, it was a set schedule. Again, for me, it was basically work, be a husband and a father, and then everyone else is in bed, and then my hobby for like 3 hours, and that was it. As far as not burning myself out, funny enough, when I first started streaming, I streamed like a couple days, and then I took like a Friday off or a Saturday off, because all the videos on YouTube about streaming basically said, you need to take days off. And so I did it. But the whole time, that whole evening I took off, I was just wishing I was streaming. And I like made a new banner, I made new alerts, not just this and that and this and that. I kept upgrading stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'll take the next day off when I feel like I need to. 1,400 days later, it still hasn't happened yet. Now, again, I'm an oddball in that respect. There's not many that do that. You can take days off, but I'm just hooked on it. So yeah, the scheduling, unless there was a rare opportunity, I stuck to my schedule. Like I didn't like go really later, because I never really had a rest day. So I made sure not to drain myself too much, doing this stuff because I couldn't catch up on sleep the next day with my own self-imposed schedule. But again, if you get those opportunities, you gotta jump on them. Ariamadio, first-time chatter, says, Monk, this is slightly off topic, but I have a question about your community philosophies. I've been trying to watch a specific GW2 streamer, but every time I watch them, they or a guest say something like, it's unacceptable for people to not know all the elite specs of their main class. Why? That's a pretty direct quote. You don't have to comment on that quote specifically, but as a community figure, what's your stance on hardcore versus casuals debate? It's unacceptable for people to not know all the elites of their main class. You know, there's such a thing as new players. Like, there's such a thing as new players. So no, I think it's unacceptable to be that stupid. Like that's very close-minded. There are people that are new to the game that don't even know the 9 base classes. Like, that sounds like it was. They're probably referring to people that have played the game for a while. But dude, you can't. Something I've learned: you cannot just assume that every single person is a gamer the way you are. There are people that enjoy. So for those of you tuning in, because I'm in the just chatting section, my primary game is Guild Wars 2. There are people that play Guild Wars 2 every Friday for 2 hours, and they look forward to the next Friday. Their lives are so busy, they can only log into the game for that amount of time each week. So getting like a legendary item or like a sky scale, it's going to take them months. They just got busy lives, Like there is more of them than there are the hardcore gamers. Like, you can't just be like, oh, everybody should be doing 25,000 DPS and... Get your head out of your butt. You need a cranial rectalectomy. Look it up. That's a word. Like, no, that's not everyone's like that. Not everyone's like that. As far as... Yeah, I don't know who said that. If that actually happened, I think that's silly. I think it's silly. And honestly, Guild Wars 2 is one of the most forgiving games for that kind of thing, because they never raise the level cap, they never raise the item level, so people can play it casually and still stay at maximum power level for years as long as their skills don't get rusty. Anyway, I don't know. Those sound like the people that are on Reddit. What about vacations? What about vacations? I get asked that sometimes. So even before I started streaming, I didn't really like going on vacations. When I was younger and I lived with my parents, my dad made good money doing work for Cisco, the voice over IP company. And so we would occasionally have a vacation. And a few times in my teens, I got to go snowboarding. Now, we live in the South. I'm talking to the whole world right now. We live in like the southern part of the United States. There's never snow down here. And so that would be like a plane trip, hotel for a few days, snow slopes, and then back. So it'd be like a fancy vacation for us every couple of years. And we used to do that, but it was cool. But like when I moved out as an adult, got my own place, I never really wanted to go out and do that. It's too expensive, too much trouble. And so like my idea of a vacation is take everyone else I live with and send them on vacation. And then I could just, what was that movie where Tom Cruise was dancing around the house in his underwear? That's me. I'm just dancing around in my, like, do I even have pants on right now? Who knows? Like, that's me. I'm jamming. I'm having a blast. The whole house is mine. Or I'll get someone to bring me Panda Express. That's my vacation. Like, that's my thing. So that didn't really change for me when I became a streamer. And again, I'm doing something I love. Like, I've done this 1,400 days. For those of you who want some quick math, I have almost been here every night for 4 years. For almost 4 years, I've been here every single night. I do that because I love this. It's so like I can't think of somewhere I'd like to go. I've seen the Grand Canyon. I was like, man, that's a big ditch. Can we get back in the car? I think the hotel had Cartoon Network. All right. Now, maybe I'm a few fries short of a Happy Meal. I don't know. But like looking at like big, amazing things in the real world, it doesn't do it. My brain doesn't make the happy juice. So that's just me. It's going to vary from person to person. I don't really like trips. That's a big what? Ditch. A big ditch, Jack. Get your mind out of the gutter or I'll never play the ad for you again. Okay. Where were we? Where were we? Do you use any peripherals that you would recommend? Stream Deck, fancy mice, special keyboards, etc. You should not be spending any crazy amounts of money on a fancy mouse or keyboard early on. Again, audio is your most important thing. If you can play with whatever your mouse and keyboard is, that's totally adequate. That's fine. Eventually, I got myself a little bit better mice and keyboard, but it certainly is not needed for starting off for a very long time. Stream Deck. Stream Deck does help. For those of you who don't know what that is, this is a Stream Deck. Now, the Stream Deck can do different things, and you can basically save different things to the Stream Deck. For example, some of you may know Ludwig. Ludwig has a bunch of different songs and music on his. I've got some sound effects on here. I've got bunch of different ones. You can have like a soundboard here. Sometimes I've got you look in the bottom right hand corner, I've got a fake map for when I'm in World v World to screw with people. That's just a GIF. I can turn that on and off with the Stream Deck. I can change scenes. So I could be like, here's my browser, here's my face, here's the game, here's the starting soon screen. I can do all that. Now you could do that without the Stream Deck, but it's a lot easier with the Stream Deck. Now until I got the Stream Deck, I used my numpad. Oop, I just hit the microphone. I used my numpad. I bound all of the major things I needed to the numeric keypad on the keyboard. And I used that for like half a year. You can do that. Also, any of you thinking about that purchase, Elgato, who makes the Stream Deck, has an app that you can download and you can use it. It's like $1 or $2 a month, I think. And it basically turns your phone into a Stream Deck. So you can just have your phone sitting next to your computer and use it like a Stream Deck. Great for people starting out if they feel the need for it. But if you don't need all these extra buttons, then don't spend money on that. If the buttons aren't getting used, then they don't do you any good. Yeah. What is the most professional looking font? Whatever Noxy tells me it is that day. That's it. Okay. Now it feels like it's too quiet. I'll turn the music back up a little bit. Comic Sans. There's a bunch of people say Comic Sans. Can you slap the microphone again? I'd rather not. Hold on. I'll go to Mistlock has so much better music. We're not going to Mistlock for a bit. Okay, so the next question is from Moon's Raven, who is interested in content creation. They said, did you ever find a game or part of the game that you found interesting and decided you would just keep it for your personal free time outside of your content creator streamer job? What? Okay, so I'm having to interpret this. I assume that they're saying, is there any part of the game I like Guild Wars 2, that I like so much that I do that even when I'm not clocked in? No. So I'm very fortunate. I basically stream 5 to 8 hours a day. And anything I'm doing, if I'm showing it on stream or making a video out of it, it's content. So for example, I might be like, oh man, I really want to play Overlord right now. However, I don't want the people at the stream to miss it because they'll be missing part of the playthrough. And also, I take my whole playthrough and I put it on my playthrough channel. This is something that I was inspired to do by Coco. I've got it open in a separate window because of it's a separate Google login. But I have a second YouTube channel, and it basically, it's called Muckluck Plays, and it just has playlists of all these other games I've done. Now here's the thing. Let's say when I stream something, when I stream Overlord, the first night, I might have had 300 viewers. Well, 628 people have started watching the playthrough. So that's almost like that first night I had 900 viewers. And this sits here forever. I've got a lot of people that just go through and just watch. This channel just passed 3,000 videos, and all it is sliced up recordings of me playing through games. So if people are like, oh, hey, have you ever played Hollow Knight? Have you ever played Helltaker? Have you ever played Dishonored? I'm like, oh yeah, it's right here. I just shoot them a link. They can literally watch the whole playthrough, and because of ad revenue, I get paid for it. So I am so glad I did this. I don't make a ton of money from this channel. Right now, it's a few dollars a day. But it's literally just sitting there doing that all by itself. And then each time I do something else that it's like a playthrough and it's not like, just repeated MMO content, I throw it on there and it's there forever. So this was inspired by Co-Carnage's YouTube channel. And I wish I had done that sooner. So do I don't play video games much outside of streaming because it could have gone on stream and it could have go to that channel. Usually if I'm outside of streaming and I want to like play something, I'll play a game with my kid. Do you still use the Guild Wars 2 add-on manager? Yes, I do. I need to actually log out and update my add-ons now-ish, but I'm not going to do it right now. But yes, I do still use that. Returning player here. Any advice from gaining some gold net worth? From what I've read, Reba runs are the best bet. Any other recommendations? Hey, call out. So my way of getting money in the game is displayed in this video. Essentially, there's a bunch of things in the game you can do that give you a lot of money for a few seconds of work. However, you can only do them once a day. I just make sure to do them every day. And my money is constantly climbing, which puts me over 7,000 gold right now. I hate farming, like the whole run in circles and keep killing for hours until I get tired. I hate doing it like that. So I just found habits that keep me rich. So that's my method. There's a link to it right there. Erebus says, hey Muck, I'd like to start off by saying thank you. I recently started to play games on the PC. I've been playing console, been console heavy since the Nintendo Entertainment System with a little dabbling in PC growing up. But to get back on track, I played with random persons in Twitch with a passable level. The streamers and communities I've interacted with suggested streaming. I mentioned I should give it a try, so here I am. I looked at various videos and forums on the matter, so I am enthralled. That's awesome. Yeah, if you've got any questions, hit me up. Today is certainly the day for it. Additionally, I'm going to link in the chat right now. I have got guides on this subject as well, which that link in the chat takes you to this webpage. This is the video that has got the most bang for your buck. It's what I learned from the first 1,000 days streaming. And then there's a bunch of other stuff in here as well. But yeah, this basically details everything I did going from 3 viewers to 300. You think you're doing this? I missed out about 2 hours of this. I'll look forward to the VOD, but I would like to ask you multiple questions, wondering if you have another means of communication to pick your brain, or if I'm being greedy, take advantage of both options. For now, just throw your questions at me and I'll get through as many of them as I possibly can. And maybe I'll do this more often. I like talking to everyone rather than one person when I can, because it hits more people that way. But for now, just throw them at me. Appreciate the link. I hate farming methods. I'll take a look at it. Sure, right on. Mike, I wanted to ask you about backgrounds for streaming. Should I get a green screen? Is there any program that can create a background behind me, or should I decorate my room for that purpose? Hey, Novellian. So it's not required. I was not using a green screen for like a year. Think of some of the top streamers. Asmongold, Ninja, neither of them use a green screen. And Asmongold has like 47 Wendy's cups behind him. Your content matters more than a green screen. That said, you can set up a very cheap green screen option for not much money. Josh Strife Hayes, his green screen is just green felt he got at a craft store. He threw it over a broom handle and put the broom on top of a shelf behind him. It tears a little bit. There's a little bit of like rippling, but it worked, and he spent like $5 on it. Maybe $6 if you count the broom. You do not have to get like a $50 fancy Elgato screen unless you want to, if you're on a budget. Additionally, if you really want to kick it up a notch, this is something I did. Now again, I do this full time. You got to get permission to paint your friggin' house if you want to do this. Where is... Give me a sec. I'm looking for a scene. Here we go. This is the room behind me. There was one day I just decided, I was like, you know what? I want to paint this wall, because I had a green screen behind me that basically cut my room in half. It was a giant 6-foot by 9-foot curtain, and it was like a cubicle wall. So I literally went to the store and got a bucket of paint and painted that wall. And it's not the cleanest thing, but it's pretty good, and I'm happy with it. And now I got rid of that giant green screen that was in here. Now, you can paint it. Again, you can just get the fabric and just throw it over a broom handle and be done with it, and that's a few bucks. Do you have to do any of that? No, you don't. You don't have to do any of that. Josh Strife Hayes is a green screen? Mm-hmm. When he uses it. Yeah, he does. Additionally, you asked if there is software that can do that. Yes. They're, I believe, is it OBS? I know there's software that can do it. It's like a virtual green screen. Now, the main issue with that software is it's very resource intensive. If your system is already struggling to do like game plus stream plus camera, you're not going to be able to run virtual green screen technology at the same time. It's pretty intense. However, it does exist. It does exist, and it will basically, like, okay, everything to here, keep, and try to cut out everything behind. It does exist. You would have to do some Google searches on that. One of the great streamers I watch regularly has bought a green shower curtain, has used it for years. Yeah, it can be simple. Again, the only thing that matters, it's not even really the color green. It's just you need a solid color behind you. They're essentially, hang on a second. All right, here's the streaming program. Let me go to my camera here. And if I go to this, so I can go to, is it configure video? Oh, I don't know if I can do it while I'm live. Okay. Anyway, you can see like there's a poster right there. So oh, you can't see the poster. Okay, it's not showing up. Essentially, what you just need is a solid color behind you that in no way, shape, or form comes anywhere close to what you're wearing or your skin tone. For example, obviously I'm very pasty. However, there's a lot of, everything from white to red is in my complexion. So if I did a red screen or a white screen, chunks of me would be missing. But if I did like blue to green, I'd be okay, but it'll depend on you. Green is the most commonly used one because it works fine with almost everybody's skin tones. But it doesn't have to be green. It just has to be a solid color that you can delete that color and you're still there. NVIDIA Borad does the virtual green screen thing. There you go. Guild Wars 2 art in the back there. I once had a mouse pad with a drawing of error on it, but I rarely use it. Mouse would go. NVIDIA Broadcast is the one with the resource. Okay. Streamer that started the green screen trend was Manverse Game back on Just TV 12 years ago. Okay. What about light options? All right, so light, all right, so the green screen only works if there's a light hitting it. I am going to take off my headset, and I'm going to turn off a light over here. All right. There is still a green wall behind me. However, there is no light hitting it, so my camera can no longer see that there is a green wall behind me. Okay? So what you need for lighting is if you're using a green screen, you need a light that is hitting the green screen. So I've got a very large, it's like, I don't know the name of it. It's, I think it's a box light. My wife used to use this for her photography. She did photography for a while. So now I found that light, when it was pointed directly at the wall, it made a glare, and then it would just be like a ball of light behind me. So I actually had to point it almost to the ceiling so that what was left of the light hit the wall just right, and then the wall disappears. Additionally, my ceiling light is off. That's what worked for me. Ceiling light off, box light in the direction of the green screen, and a small ring light. This thing is powered by USB. It's plugged into the computer. It takes very little energy. It is shining on my face. So yeah, that's what I've got. So I'm essentially using two lights. One toward the wall and one toward my face. And the one toward my face actually can brighten or dim. A lot of people, the really fancy people that know their lighting a lot better than I do, will recommend 3. So they'll have like 1, 2, 3. I've got 2. This is what works for me. So I'm using 2. Green is pretty optimal, but not even the best one. That would be blue. The blue needs to be perfect light. Green can be more forgiving. Hey Monk, what do you think about gaming addiction? And since you have children, how do you allow your child to gaming? You can safely ignore this one since it's too OOT. Gaming addiction. Okay, so yeah, I've got a kid, and if I left him to his own devices, he would absolutely play video games all day until nighttime. He knows. Like, I'm trying to parent him as best as I can. Just like most parents, I'm doing the best I can. He knows that if I ask him to do something, he needs to pause what he's doing and do it, and then he can go back to what he was doing. And if he gives me a hard time, he's going to lose. You ever had a kid that you're like, hey, get off the Nintendo, and they ignore you, and then you just like, maybe you turn it off or something, and then they just start screaming? If he gets anywhere even close to that, I'm just like, you're done for the day. But because of that, he's 99% of the time, he's really good about, I'll be like, hey, I need you to pause what you're doing. You need to feed your cat and empty his litter box, and then you can play again. And he's like, okay. And then if he needs another minute, he's learned, he'll be like, can I get to the next save point? Or can I finish this Pokemon battle? And as long as he asks nicely, I'm like, yes, you can. So that's with me. And basically, he'll understand, like, if I get him something nice, like I recently bought him Pokemon Legends of Arceus, a new game for his Nintendo Switch. And I was like, hey, I know you were saving up for this. It was going to take him like freaking 3 months. He doesn't have a job. I was like, I know you're saving up for this, but you've been getting all A's in school, and I'm really proud of you. So this is a gift from your parents, and with hugs and kisses, and then he ignored us for the next 3 days while he played Arceus. So I basically try to tell him that it's positive reinforcement because he's doing his job as a kid, which is like getting good grades and taking care of his cat and stuff like that. So yeah. That's what I am currently doing. I know that video game addiction is real because I have it, but I try to make him understand he is allowed to go ham on video games if he does everything else he's supposed to do. That's how I am choosing to approach it. I think there's a lot of right answers here. There's a lot of right ways to raise a kid, and there's of course a lot of bad ones too, but that's what we're trying to do. Okay, let me take another question from the Discord things. We're getting through this really slowly. Let's see, a second question from Moon's Raven. If there was one useful tip you could give yourself from a few years ago when you started streaming in YouTube, what would it be? Start sooner? Like, again, I sat on the idea of streaming on Twitch for like a year before I started streaming on Twitch. I was just like, that looks cool. Maybe I'll try that someday. And it took me a year to get the courage to do it. If I had another year of growth behind me, that would be amazing. If I go back in time, I would do it sooner. YouTube, I wish I'd started YouTube much sooner than I did. And again, when I started YouTube, I also did it all wrong. Let's tell you what. Let's visit my YouTube channel for a second here. All right, so here's my videos. Let's reverse time here and go to the oldest video. So when I first started uploading stuff, I was literally just uploading entire streams. Look at this, 5 hours and 44 minutes. Now, it has a few views, but that's because some people find me today and are like, oh, I wonder what his oldest stuff is. Then they get to this and they're like, oh God. And then look at this, 50 views, 30 views, 16 views. Some of these are barely double digits. And the views I pull in now are usually like 10,000 per video. The real bangers, there's 30K, there's 30K, there's 25K. I'm not one of the biggest YouTubers or Twitch streamers on the platform. I think I'm in the top 0.06% of Twitch. 0.03 for English speaking. But yeah, I wish I had done it sooner and also actually been editing videos earlier, not just hurling 6-hour-long VODs up there, because very few people want to watch that. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Just changed to another language. I only speak one language. However, that brings up, I think you're probably trolling me, but that brings up a very interesting point. There are some of you, if you're bilingual, you may have better luck in a different language category. My understanding, I don't frequent it because I don't speak it, I don't understand anything. My understanding is that the Spanish-speaking section of Twitch is massive. It is absolutely gargantuan. Like, I'm over here and I'm like, oh my God, XQC is huge, Asmongold is huge. But like in the other language sections, there's streamers that are as big or bigger. What if I'm trilingual? Like, you can do any of them. Like, I know one streamer that spoke English and Portuguese. And for a while he did English streams. Then he did bilingual streams. And then he felt it was kind of weird because anyone in the chat that didn't speak either of the languages was missing part of it. Then he switched to just Portuguese streams and his numbers shot way up. So he stayed doing that. Now, when I would stop by and say, hey, he would switch to English and greet me and we would laugh, and then he would go back to Portuguese for his main audience. But that's what worked for him. So, I mean, you should explore that option. Okay. If I decide, do you have any advice for learning how to edit videos? Yes. Yes, so I'm gonna do exclamation content in the chat, and that's gonna pull up my YouTube, or it's not my YouTube, my website. If you scroll down, I have got 2 videos here where I edited an entire video start to finish with free software. So if you would like to